Hey, good morning, everybody. I have been wanting to make a video. Pretty much, I've been wondering where did this podcast that Melanie, Lori, and Chad did? It's called Preparing a People. And I wanted to hear some more of the podcast because there's a podcast called Feel the Fire. And I think I found another podcast that they did. I put it as a video. Let me see what the name of it is. But we found a couple of the episodes. If you look up Preparing a People on YouTube, let me turn my mic up a little bit. If you look it up on YouTube, you will find a couple of podcasts called Preparing a People. In my research, I have found 99 podcast episodes on a website called Podchaser. A lot of people have been wondering if Lori and Chad are the ones that started Preparing a People podcast. So I searched it up on Google and I came across this website called Podchaser. I got on Podchaser to see if I could listen to any of the podcasts, but all of the audio links are all broken. You can't listen to any of these podcasts. They all run about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to about an hour. And like I said, there's 99 of them. When I clicked into the first one, which is on the screen right now, let's see. I did share one more. There's the Feel the Fire episode, and there is episode 1, Time to Warrior Up. You can listen to both of those, but the rest of these 99 podcasts you can't listen to. So when I got onto the first one, I'll show you here. It is episode 1. It was filmed July the 12th, but it was posted on July the 12th, 2017. And it says you have to actually click on it to read the full description. So it says, in their debut episode, Michael and Nancy James of Color My Media discussed their upcoming Preparing a People conference held at the Rexburg Tabernacle Civic Center. Michael discusses with his co-host Chad Daybell, author and president of Spring Creek Book Company, his latest book, Living on the Edge of Heaven. There's a website here, and they're selling tickets for their September 9th Utah conference, which this was in 2017. So this was episode 1, and it shows you right here, Michael and Nancy James of Color My Media discuss their upcoming conference. All right. Now, let's go to episode 2. This one is called Who the Heck is Sean Little Bear? July 19th, 2017. Michael and Nancy James invite their friend Sean Little Bear to speak at their Rexburg conference. But first, medicine man Sean Little Bear invites them to learn more about his life by hanging out with him in his natural habitat, Oklahoma. While attending Cheyenne powwows and sweat lodges and flying their new drone over the tribe's buffalo, they also manage this podcast interview with Sean. Okay. Let's go to number 3, which is David Warwick's Visions of Coming Tribulations, July 19th, 2017. These are all the podcasts that Preparing a People did. This one here says, let's see. In this interview, Mike James discusses with David Warwick Isn't that Melanie Gibb's husband? A few of his visions. They discuss David's recent vision of the Trump presidency and America's eventual loss of its blessings. They also discuss an eventual false flag in North Korea, coming celestial signs and events, and how his prophetic gift works. And in each one of these descriptions, this lady, Nancy, and her husband, Michael, they are advertising their conference. So let's go back and read number 4. There are 99 of these, and I wanted to make a video of all of them. So instead of making a video, recording it, editing, uploading, I just wanted to go live and read them all. So we're going to see if I'm able to read all 99 of them, but that's a lot. So let's see. This next one, this episode 4 is Pam Struck by Lightning, July 21st, 2017. And don't forget that this podcast, it was started by Michael and Nancy James. I just posted something on my wall about Nancy. I'll share it at the end of this. I have to click on each one, open it up, scroll past this big long picture to get to the description. It says, Pamela Romney Openshaw, author of Promises of the Constitution, explains the inspiration she received to help save our Constitution. After being struck by lightning as a young girl, Mike James also discusses with Pam her new website and her speech at the Rexburg Preparing a People Conference. And there's her website, promiseoftheconstitution.com. So episode 5. John Miller, the legend, at least in Rigby. This was on July 30th, 2017. And none of these audio links work. They don't work. So we'll look at the descriptions of all of them. John Miller discusses how personal revelation can lead us to new adventures in strange lands, like moving from Seattle to Rigby, Idaho. John also discusses his inspiration for their Martin's Cove video, created for his presentation at the Preparing a People Conference in Rexburg, Idaho. What's next? Episode 6. Does Chad's family find him funny? Interesting. Chad Daybell returns as co-host to give his final take on the Rexburg Conference and why his talk was so funny. Chad discusses future events in Utah and Idaho, places of safety, and why he chose to write a fictional series about his real family visions. It says the conference was on September the 9th. What day was this podcast? July 31st. Okay. Number 7. They're out of order. Number 7. Julie Rowe and Sean Littlebear. Sacred Revelations. Okay. They have a little notice up. Please take notice. We have had several questions regarding this podcast. We wanted to clear up any confusion that may have had. Julie Rowe had never met Dan Judd, nor is part of Dan's story at this time. Sean Littlebear is a fellow ward member who helped convert Dan's family and is still in Dan's state in the Oklahoma City area. 2 of our Rexburg Conference speakers, Julie Rowe and Cheyenne Medicine Man Sean Littlebear, discussed for the first time together their important future missions, sacred records about to come forth, and Visions of End of Times. So then you have Julie Rowe, prepare.com. This Preparing a People website doesn't exist anymore. And that was on August the 3rd. Okay, we have episode 8. Mike Simpson is on sandy soil. This was August 1st. I don't know how they got out of order. Let's see. I don't know what it is with the big pictures. Two missionaries named Mike, who preach the gospel in Ireland at the same time, discuss how the Lord himself will teach you the higher things through paradox and trials. They also discuss their love for Isaiah scholar Abraham Gileadi, and how the Lord has prepared them to be part of the Lord's end time mission, helping the world heal through the coming tribulation. Mike Simpson built his Theta Wellness Center on sandy soil and loves it. Okay. Let's see. What else? Preparing episode 9. Okay. Carrie Guthrie Paints the Future. This was August the 6th, 2017. It looks like they were doing these every day. Let's open this one up. These descriptions actually have a lot of information in them. Let's see how many I can get read. Artist Carrie Guthrie discusses her visit to the Rexburg Conference and inspiration behind her millennial art, including her painting of the two greatest heroes at Martin's Cove, Wyoming. Are we ready to have the kind of faith that they did? Okay. Episode 10. Two Great Wanderers in the Heavens by Anthony Steffen. August the 8th. Anthony Steffen teaches us about two upcoming wondrous signs of the times. The North American eclipse takes place on August 21st, 2017, and the sign of the woman plays out in the stars on September 23rd, 2017. What do these things really mean? Tony has a few insights you won't want to miss. Also, check out Tony's full video presentation. Episode 11, Rod Meldrum's favorite 4-letter words. This was August the 9th, 2017. At his jovial best, Rod Meldrum gives his report about our recent Rexburg conference on a topic he has rarely talked about. Rod also discusses his upcoming book. These people have so many books. His upcoming Book of Mormon Evidence Conference, and gives us a preview of his Book of Mormon tour this October. Rod also bears his testimony of the Sacred Covenant and warning our nation is under. More about all of Rod's work at bookofmormonevidence.org. Okay, we'll check that out. Did that say what his favorite 4-letter word was? I guess they discussed it in the podcast that we can't listen to. Nancy James took them all down. Episode 12, David Warwick on building a business in Babylon. This was August the 11th, 2017. David Warwick returns to our podcast to discuss a couple of his visions about building a business in the Lord's way, even in Babylon. He also gives us his report on the Idaho Preparing a People conference and the great friendships he made. David also answers a listener's question from his first podcast appearance. Okay. Episode 13, Chad Daybell, Not So Hip Microchip. August 23rd, 2017. Chad Daybell discusses microchip implants currently in the news, fulfilling prophecy. He also discusses the exciting prophecies and expectations of sacred records discussed by Sean Littlebear and Dan Judd, and prophetic counsel by Thomas S. Monson. Episode 14, Anthony Stephan, Anticipating the Restoration of All Things, August 24th, 2017. He had a lot to say. That was 57 minutes long. This is the audio only version of Anthony Stephan's impressive lesson on the special role that John the Revelator plays in our end times. John holds the key to the restoration of the house of Israel and the return of the 10 tribes. Anthony also discusses the meaning behind Revelation 12:1-4 JST. Okay. Episode 15, Zion's Camp. Michael and Darcy Kennedy. There's a lot of people involved in this preparing people. This one was released on August 28th, 2017. Preparing a people went camping for a week with a few of their best friends. Watch for a special Zion's Camp podcast over the next few weeks. This was a fireside given by Michael Kennedy, who is a direct descendant of the prophet Joseph Smith, and his wife, Darcy Kennedy. Hold on, I have to read that one more time. They actually went camping together, okay? And then it says, this was a fireside given by Michael Kennedy, who is a direct descendant of the prophet Joseph Smith, with his wife, Darcy Kennedy. Okay, this gets interesting. I really want to get through reading all of these. So this, if you're just now coming in or you're just now listening to the replay, I am reading all 99 episodes from what's it called? Preparing a People podcast network, whatever you want to call it. And when we read the first description, Michael and Nancy James started this. They founded this Preparing a People conference, network, podcast, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to read all of the information that is in the descriptions because we can't listen to them because Nancy took them down. All right, episode 16. Michael Simpson, Heather's Story of Healing. September the 1st. So it's getting really close to the conference. I think the conference is on the 9th. All right. Heather. Yeah, it is on the 9th. Michael Simpson expands upon his first podcast, episode 8, and discusses how the mechanics of helping and healing really work. Mike also visits with a current staff member at Theta, Heather, who was first one of his patients. Mike Simpson has agreed to speak at our Utah Preparing a People conference on September the 9th. Okay. Episode 17, Hector Sosa Jr. What the heck has Hector been doing? So this was on September the 1st. Hector Sosa Jr. is back after 2 years of public silence, ready to testify of what he sees coming. Hector has not had an NDE, and that is what makes him unique in his spiritual gift of seeing visions of the future tribulations and preparing for the coming of Jesus Christ. Hector will be our opening speaker at the Preparing a People conference on September the 9th. Okay. Episode 18, September the 4th. Zion's Camp. Michael and Darcy Kennedy discuss Emma Smith. Emma Smith. Is that a descendant of Joseph Smith? I don't know. This is Special Zion Camp podcast with Michael Kennedy, who is a direct descendant of the prophet Joseph Smith and his wife Darcy Kennedy. This was a special class they taught the following morning after their special fireside, discussing new information about Emma Smith. Episode 19, Mike and the Mechanics of Unclean Spirits. This was September the 7th, 2017. I haven't read all these yet, so Mike Simpson clarifies the confusion of demonic possession, priestcraft, and why you can't be healthy, happy, and whole with evil spirits still a part of you. Ginger, a past patient of Theta Wellness in Sandy, Utah, also shares her miraculous story of healing with a new perspective about God. Feel free to go look at these websites. Some of those don't work. This preparingapeople.com is not a website anymore. Episode 20. These people had a lot to talk about. Natalie Pemberton triumphs over tragedy. All right, September the 19th. So this is after the conference. Bet they're still advertising the conference. Natalie. Nope, they're not advertising it anymore. The conference has already happened. The September 9th, 2017 Preparing a People conference has already happened. Natalie Pemberton shares her candid story of how she overcame childhood abuse, addiction, anger, and marital mishap. Learn how she turned her past tragedies into a triumph, life full of spiritual gifts, love, and service through Jesus Christ. Episode 21. Sean Little Bear and Chad Daybell both died and lived to tell about it. Is a near-death experience the same thing as dying? I have heard Chad say he's had near-death experiences, but I have not heard that Chad has died. Okay. This was September 24th. And if I do recall correctly, there were multiple conferences. So let's see if they start to advertise for another conference. Because this was September the 24th, 2017. Look at his potato head looking self. Okay. Don't want to look at that too long. Oh, he has a big description here. I'm telling you, these people have a lot to say. It would be great to come across the actual audio of these podcasts. In this episode, Chad Daybell interviews Sean Little Bear about his upcoming book. Chad was quite struck by their similarities of growing up in Utah County, graduating in the 80s, and both having NDEs and visions of the future. Sean was quite struck by lightning. But unlike Chad, he didn't hear Van Halen music on the other side. They also discussed the discovery of the sacred wood found by Sean's cousin in Oklahoma that has led to tens of thousands of his native ancestors having temple work done. Both were speakers at our Utah Preparing a People conference, and both will speak at our Arizona conference on November the 18th. Watch our website for details about Sean's new book and Sean's new Vimeo on demand series. Okay. Episode 22, Zion's Camp. Alexis Crandall, an angel with red hair. This was October the 2nd. It looks like they're going to have another conference in Arizona in November. Preparing a People went camping for a week with a few of their best friends. They went again? Oh my gosh. Here's another great interview from Zion's Camp. Alexis Crandall is an amazing 16-year-old with an ancient spirit. Alexis had a special witness of the Savior at age 14 and shares her powerful testimony of it. Arizona Preparing a People tickets are now available. I wonder how much those tickets cost. Episode 23 on October the 14th. Why Sean Little Bear built a sweat lodge in Rexburg. Why did he do it? What in the world? Our dear friend Kevin Campbell tells about hosting Sean Little Bear in Rexburg and why they built a sweat lodge legacy for the future on his Rexburg property. Okay, sure. Episode 24. Rod Meldrum has Mounds of Self-Evident Truth. Okay, November the 3rd. Michael and Nancy return from an amazing Book of Mormon tour to America's Heartland. Rod Meldrum gives his reflections on the trip and discusses his testimony of the prophet Joseph Smith, who clearly taught that the United States is the promised land spoke of by prophets and is the land where both the Jaredite and Nephite civilizations come to an end after breaking their covenant with God. We're halfway done. No, We're not halfway done, we're a quarter of the way done. Episode 25. Michael Simpson on Real Potential, Limiting Beliefs and Weight Loss. November the 10th. Mike Simpson returns to discuss how we create problems and difficulties when we have limiting beliefs that stand in the way of our true potential. Mike also gives some basic principles that need to be understood in order to help people overcome weight gain among a host of other issues. He better